After the destruction of the Death Star by Luke Skywalker and the rebels, the Emperor placed the majority of the blame squarely on Darth Vader for his mistakes. After requiring the assistance of archaeologist Dr. Chelli Aphra, Vader put together a small personal army made up of the very same battle droids he fought against during the Clone Wars in order to hunt down anyone who opposed him or threatened to take his position as the Sith apprentice to Darth Sidious. In this personal army was a pack of extremely loyal, recovered Separatist Commando droids. So before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed for the prequel and sequel to this issue, which I'll be releasing very shortly. So the story begins with Darth Vader and Dr. Aphra aboard Padme's Naboo royal starship, which was gifted to Vader by Palpatine some time ago. So if you want to see how he managed that, make sure you let me know down below. The two are on the search for one of Palpatine's operatives known as Cylo-IV and are currently travelling towards his secret research base. Aphra then calls Vader over to her and tells him that she doesn't want to jinx anything, but she believes that she might have found his base. Vader hilariously responds to her by saying, "You are correct," already knowing that Aphra was just joking and that the base is already clearly in sight. Eventually the two arrive at the abomination of a research station and Vader immediately orders Dr. Aphra to begin. Aphra quickly agrees to the illegal boarding mission and prepares the ion charges on the ship while Vader's horde of commando droids line up behind him ready to strike. As Vader prepares to board the ship with his commando droids, Aphra wishes him well and tells him, "May the Force be with you," in absolute awe at her current job. Soon after this, a massive blast tears through the deck of the research base, scaring everyone on board and leading the security teams on board to quickly mobilize after realizing that it was an ion charge that hit them. All circuits on the base are down, along with all of the doors being sealed shut. As the alarms on the station blare out, an unauthorized docking is immediately detected, terrifying the security staff even further. The security teams then line up in a very similar way to A New Hope and Rogue One, while Vader uses his red lightsaber to melt through the blast doors, but he's not the first one through. Instead, Aphra's droid 000 is the one to come through the smoke-filled entrance, begging that the security forces don't shoot him. They immediately demand that the droid identify himself, and 000 has no problem doing this, before also introducing his droid friend, BT. And by the way, BT is known as being a very homicidal droid, so that's just something to remember. Not long after this, however, a scorching red lightsaber blade plunges through the wall, and 000 reveals to the guards that he was trolling them badly and serving only as a distraction for Darth Vader's entrance. As Vader bursts his way into the facility, many security staff are violently ripped out into the cold void of space, but Aphra's droids have no problem because they're wearing magnetic clamps. Aphra is quietly pleased to see the security members be ripped out into space, saying, "That's what you get for not wearing magnetic clamps." Aphra then immediately reseals the station remotely before Vader's commando droids enter the area and line up behind their master, Darth Vader. 000 is looking for Vader's approval after serving as a distraction, but Vader is unfortunately not one for compliments, brushing him off and ordering that he help open the door. 000 is saddened by this, remarking that he has had far more grateful masters in the past, and coldly saying, "No, it didn't stop me from killing them and drinking their blood." Yeah, this droid is absolutely maniacal. How can you not love him? Following this, Vader holds his flickering lightsaber out in front of him before ordering his commando droids to follow him into the next room. The pack of commando droids clank forward all in sync, following Vader to their next objective. Back on the ship, Chelli Aphra has just received the plans that the little astromech, BT, managed to steal from the Imperial computer system and is slowly putting together a layout of the research base. And just to further add on to this droid being an absolutely homicidal droid, he's actually not technically an astromech. Instead, he's a blastomech prototype, meaning he's a specialized assassin droid who goes undercover as an astromech. Aphra then immediately spots two main areas of resistance. One is the barracks and the other is the dojo. Aphra relays this information to Vader, which leads him to split his horde of commando droids, sending his second platoon to the dojo and allowing the first to continue following him. Aphra then keeps Vader up to date from the ship, warning Vader that his battle droid forces are facing much more resistance in the barracks, but Vader simply doesn't care, as the commando droids who followed him have begun opening fire and are absolutely shredding through the station. Vader's second platoon of commando droids then comes across two strange humans before reporting this to Vader. Strangely, however, Aphra becomes incredibly panicked as she immediately loses contact with the commando droids who discovered the humans. This deeply angers Vader, and he immediately orders the commandos to follow him quickly and get moving towards the other location. Out of nowhere, one of Vader's commando droids is savagely ripped in half by something behind Vader. Vader then turns to inspect the situation and immediately sees the two humans from earlier, with one of them holding a green lightsaber and the other, who happens to be her brother, holding a yellow saber. These two siblings, however, are not Force sensitive. Vader immediately recognizes that their moves were not of the Force and instead simple trickery. Vader then calls the two siblings out, telling them that the Force is weak with them and that they are no Jedi, and for that matter, they are no Sith either. The brother, named Morat, however, is disgusted by the names Jedi and Sith, telling Vader that those are the last things he'd ever want to be before he locks his yellow blade with Vader's. His sister, Aelin, then rapidly spins her lightsaber and attempts to strike Vader down, but he is of course too strong for her. Aelin then begins to taunt Vader and is moments away from calling out his past as a Jedi, but her brother angrily steps in and warns her to keep her mouth shut. As he does this, the man Vader was originally looking for, Cylo, a cyborg scientist working for Palpatine, also enters and demands that the fighting stop. Cylo then reveals to Vader that he is no longer Cylo-IV and has transferred to a new body, now being Cylo-V. He also reveals that he has created a personality map for himself, which is small enough to be simulated efficiently and has now literally made him immortal because he can just keep switching bodies. Vader, however, has no interest in this and instead blasts Cylo for attempting to create apprentices for himself, telling him that there is nothing of the Force inside of them, and for that matter, the Force does not flow strongly through anything in this research facility. Cylo, however, corrects the Dark Lord, telling him that he is not attempting to create apprentices for himself, but instead replacements for Vader, revealing that he has been hired by the Emperor after the destruction of the Death Star to find or create the person that will take Vader's place. Cylo arrogantly tries to argue to Vader that the Force is now obsolete and that the replacement candidates that he has created are the future. These replacements are also holding the destroyed remains of Vader's commando droids after managing to take out most of their platoon. Vader is absolutely disgusted by this, calling the whole project blasphemous, but Cylo responds by saying this has nothing to do with the Force, much like you, Lord Vader, calling him more machine than man. Cylo then goes even further, calling these replacements Vader's children, which finally infuriates Vader enough for him to lift his lightsaber against the crazy scientist, being only moments away from striking him down. He is, however, stopped by a chilling voice in the distance, the voice of his master, Darth Sidious. Sidious immediately orders Vader not to kill Cylo and even burns him by saying he is sensitive on the topic of children. Following this, Cylo attempts to show off to Sidious, exclaiming that he is about to prove that an apprentice is no longer necessary to the Empire's grand plan and should only serve as a ceremonial role. Sidious, however, is sick of Cylo's attention seeking and demands him to get to the point and show him something worthy of the Emperor's attention. Cylo agrees to this and prepares all of his creations of a variety of species and talents to take on Vader, in hopes of proving that they are worthy of replacing the Dark Lord, who Cylo views as outdated and unnecessary. But let me know down below, do you agree with Cylo's thinking, or is Vader still very necessary to Palpatine's plans? Obviously, Vader ended up being Palpatine's downfall for the exact reason that Palpatine is literally worried about here, his children, so let me know down below. In the next episode of the series, we'll see how Vader does against these abominations and where Vader's power lies, considering Palpatine is still disgusted at him for the events of the Battle of Yavin and the destruction of the Death Star. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.